on this computer. All right, now does it say recording on y'all's end?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and then Deja, I'll let you ask. If you want to go for the extra question, Deja, or I can do the extra question, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do 3 questions. So the first question is, what is your biggest fear at the moment, and what are you doing to overcome it?
Thank you all for, first of all, having me on this project of yours. Really excited to help with, you all in this particular assignment. When you all asked me this question, I was kind of trying to think in advance, like what my biggest fear is. And currently I am in a point, both professionally and academically, as I continue to pursue my PhD program, where one of my biggest fears is that the commitments and the time that I put into those commitments will not reap the benefits that I want to see at the end. So it's a constant reminder to myself that, things take time. And so for me, Deja, my biggest fear would be that the amount of work that I put into the things that I'm passionate about will not be beneficial to me in the long run.
Wow, that's crazy. My second question I have for you is, do you have a life philosophy you live by, and why is it so important and valued in your life, if you do have one?
Yes, so I would say that I do have like a personal life philosophy. For me, especially in my role as as an advisor and a leader, educator in higher education, I believe that my cup can only overflow when I am pouring into other people's cups. So I work with a very diverse population of students, and if I'm not helping them achieve their personal goals, then I am not helping myself. Because I did have a lot of help in my own personal, academic, and professional journey. And so I'm really big on making sure that other people that I can plug in when and where I can, because I truly believe that mentoring and coaching and advising are such critical aspects to the development of other students here on campus.
Okay, thank you. And the last question I have for you is, what do you think is the meaning of life? Like, what do what is like the meaning behind life in general? Well, I guess like in your life, like do you have like do you feel like you found your like purpose in life, and like what you like want to continue doing for like the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that for me, so I've had this conversation before with some friends of mine who felt like their life was meaningless or not purposeful, and they kind of felt that they didn't really know what their personal, what their meaning was for them, and they saw me and other, friends in our group as like having already accomplished this meaning of life. So I think that the meaning of life is different for everybody. I have found that my personal meaning in life is really connected to what I do as an advisor in higher education. It's really my goal, my entire entity, that I want to see other students be successful. I have an effective commitment to St. Mary's University because I did graduate from here as well. And so for me, seeing what this university could help other students achieve, I want everybody to, have that. So I would definitely say that my meaning of life is to be as helpful as I can, because I think as humans, we have a commitment to each other to, help each other find what sort of strengths and weaknesses we have. And that's just part of being involved or being a part of a community.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering those questions. We're going to go ahead and move on to Patrick. If you want to ask the 4 or the 3, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Perfect. Thank you, Deja. So yeah, I'll go ahead and proceed with the question, my portion of the questions, Noel. So the next question on the list was, who is the most important person in your life and why?
Um, I would say that the most important person in my life, as cliche as it sounds, is definitely my mom. Growing up in a single parent household, I saw a lot of the struggles that my mom faced. But she really always did her best to put a a strong face for me and my siblings. And I would not be the person that I am without my mom. So and a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have the opposite of that. But my mom is definitely the most important person in my life.
It's awesome. Yeah, me as well. I grew up, my parents got divorced at a really young age, and I think my mom played a really huge part in who I am today. And I think without her, I wouldn't be where I am or the type of person I am with her involvement in my life. So totally agree with you on that. It's awesome. The next question is, how do you work on yourself as far as, continual growth or things that you might incorporate into your daily life for self-improvement?
Um, I would say that I try to practice mindfulness as much as I possibly can. I feel like that society now has moved into a place where we are more accepting of, talking about how mindfulness can positively impact our daily lives. So for me, just taking 10 minutes to kind of reflect on maybe the day that I'm having or the way that I'm feeling, meditating when and where I can is really helpful for me. Um, that's something that it's a struggle. It's not something that you have days where you're really good at it, you have weeks where you're good at it, and then you have that one day where maybe you forget and you kind of forget for the next couple of days. So I would say that it comes with practice, but there's no right or wrong way to do it, which is a nice thing, and it's my own personal form of self-care.
Nice. Yeah, that's interesting. And in sociology, I'm also taking sociology. That was one of the assignments, their ongoing assignments that she gave was to try to practice meditating and kind
Yeah.
of write down how many times a week we do it. So I've been trying to incorporate that into my daily life as well. Out of curiosity, do you happen to use any, there's a lot of these apps out there like Calm and things like that. Do you use any of that, or you just basically you do it on your own, or?
Yeah, so that's a great follow-up question. I used to use Calm in the beginning, when I was trying to figure out like what was a good practice for me, but then I realized, like I mentioned, that there's no right or wrong way to do it. And so for me, that mindfulness is also creating that space for me to have just like 10 minutes of self-care, whether it be going outside on a really pretty day or reading a book for 15 minutes. That's my way of practicing mindfulness.
Awesome. So the next question is, what or who is your motivation? Obviously, I know you mentioned your mom being a big role model for you or influence, but other than that, what drives you to be successful in your life? So other than, that your mom obviously influencing your career and your life and the person that you've been, what type of mentors or, we're interviewing you as somebody exemplary, and I chose you because I got to know you a little bit better through our meetings and your background, and how I thought it was really impressive that not only I think you mentioned that you teach a few courses there at the university, but that you're also going for your PhD. So I feel like that you're a very driven and motivated person. But who has motivated you to aspire to be greater or do these things that you're doing?
Yeah, so well, thank you for all of that. 'Cause I mean, my answer to that question is you all. So I mean, definitely students continue to motivate me in a different way. For me, the reason that students motivate me is because I see so much individual potential in all the students that I meet with. Um, I'm always so completely fascinated by the different strengths that students have and the different characteristics that students possess. Some students come in very eager and they have, a trajectory that they're set out to achieve. And so I see myself in students sometimes, whether it be, in different aspects of emotional intelligence or social and emotional learning. I see that students now are more aware of who they are. And so I always feel like I can come into work and I know that I'm going to have a good day no matter what kind of day it is, because I'm going to get to interact with somebody. I'm going to get to make a positive, hopefully a positive and meaningful experience during that conversation. Um, and I might have motivated them, as well. So even though I see them as the person who motivates me, I could also, there's room for me to also have that impact on them also. So I would say students.
Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and knock out one more question so that way Nick can just have three to do. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but and this one's a fairly easy question. I know from our last meeting, I got to know that you enjoy collecting coffee mugs. So I know that you enjoy drinking coffee and that you have a vast collection of coffee mugs from all over the world and places that friends bring you. But other than drinking coffee, what's something fun you enjoy doing?
Um, I would say that I love listening to podcasts. I don't know if that's considered fun, but that's
Yeah.
fun to me. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, so Crime Junkies, NBC News. Those are my favorite on Spotify. That's literally 1 hour where I can just kind of get lost and listen to this ongoing case or investigation. And it's different than what I normally do every day. So for me, that's like the fun thing that I do. So I'd say listening to podcasts.
So just to cap it, a little bit more detail, binge-worthy crime series that you've been watching lately that you can tell us it's good.
Um, I do a lot of Law and Order SVU. So the new Law and Order season, which is organized crime, that's a
Yeah.
pretty good one. It's a little bit different. It's like drug related and it has that aspect of like cartels and things like that. So that's a good one that I just binged a couple months ago.
Awesome. Thank you, Noel. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer the questions over to Nick and he'll go ahead and wrap us up, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alrighty. You can hear me, sir?
Yes.
Alrighty. Hello, Mr. Cortez. My name is Nicholas, and let me go ahead and ask you one of the three questions. Give me just a moment.
Can
Alrighty,
you,
sir.
sorry, let me higher my volume also. Nicholas, can you repeat the question when you're ready?
Yeah, Nick, can you talk a little louder or into because I don't think any of us can really hear you.
Okay. Sorry. What is one of the most memorable memories that you have in your heart? Mr. Cortez.
I would say, so I hadn't thought about this, and you or now that you're posing the question, Nicholas. I lost my grandma last year in July of 2021, and one of the things when you said most memorable experiences, she always used to cook tortillas for me growing up. And the other day, I was thinking about how much I missed her and her cooking. And I had actually had a memory pop up on my feed. And she had told me, like, oh, these are not good. I'm so sorry that I was not able to, make these for you in Spanish. And she said that her hands were hurting and I was like, oh my God, you're ridiculous. They're amazing. So I would say that one of the most memorable moments is, just the conversations that I used to have with her and how much grandparents mean, to everybody. I feel like that's pretty universal. That's definitely an assumption, but a lot of people have, good memories with their grandparents. So
That's relatable, sir. I also lost a grandmother in 2011, around
um,
March. She was very dear and near my heart. I was on my way to Missouri during the time to say my last goodbyes, but that did not work out as planned.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but we still live on with their memories in our hearts. Now, second question. How would you describe yourself?
Um, how would I describe myself? I would say that I I'm pretty fearless, but rational. Um, Fearless in the sense that I will set out to do what I want to do, and I'll try to accomplish the goals that I feel like are attainable, that will benefit me. But being rational is also an important aspect or component of being fearless because you can't just jump right into something. So I would say that I'm rational, fearless, um, and very empathetic. Um, I, yes, I feel a lot of emotions, and I can definitely kind of process, with people in my personal life, friends, family, students that I work with, and I feel like that's a really good quality to have, just um, that empathy side.
All right. All right. All right. Now, the final question, and if I can read this correctly, it says, what causes you to be very passionate in the world today? Is that, am I reading this right?
Um, yeah, so what causes am I passionate about in the world today? I would say that from a political standpoint, I'm very passionate about um, the new generation of leaders that's to come. I want everybody to find their identity and, and figure out what means what to them, whether it be, social issues or issues concerning accessibility or accommodations or ethical issues that, people are faced with. But from like a personal standpoint and something that I'm dedicating my research to is definitely academic success and persistence, because college is really a place where students have to make it their own, and it there's a lot of intricacies in navigating higher education, and so my personal interest would be in how do you remove those these barriers or these hidden barriers that sometimes students face or are faced with. And so I would definitely say like political issues and education, or issues, excuse me, concerning education or access to education.
All right. That was the last of our questions, and that will conclude our meeting for today. Is there anything that anyone else?
Uh, no, I just wanted to thank Mr. Cortez for taking the time today. I think you're a perfect example of what an exemplar should be, and somebody that we can aspire to be as far as goals, and somebody that we can look for guidance. And I think it's very admirable what you do at the university. And I personally have had a great experience with you as my advisor. So I just want to say thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noel. We'll talk later.
Alrighty, bye bye.